Hello and welcome. I am joined by the lovely Vicky, who's been working with us over the last 9 months. And we've come together today to talk about women's health and Vicky's journey over the last 9 months and why we came together, really, and that initial reason for why Vicky reached out. So, Vicky, lovely to have you. And I'd love to start with asking you what were your struggles 9 months ago?
Yeah, so I guess I work full time in a very busy, demanding role. I travel a lot. I've got young children, and I found that I was putting myself at the bottom of the pile all the time, and that whether that was nutrition or time for exercise, or even just to take 5 minutes and read a book or breathe, like every bit of it was kind of coming last. And I was talking with my boss, so the CEO at work, and he had said to me, you know, this is a marathon. We've got a lot to do from a work perspective. It's really important that you're in the best possible place, and that means that whatever you need, we should support you with, and have a think about what you think would help you. And so I was kind of thinking about that and thinking like, well, what would help me right now? And I actually saw some of your posts, Emily, on LinkedIn, because you were connected with other colleagues and friends. And I just thought, wow, actually, I really like the idea of that kind of personalized support and somebody to be able to say, yes, I get it. Like, you can't just take a meal plan and just run with it because you don't have the control. You're out for work lunches, you're out for work dinners, you're on an aeroplane, life doesn't run that way. And instead work with you to create something that fits better, and to be really supportive and help figure out, like, how do you find the time to fit the exercise sessions in and to do the other things. And so reached out to say, like, could this be something that could work, and that the rest is history, so to speak. So the last kind of 9 months has been great, and I think for me it's been really useful to have, it's helpful to have kind of meal plans and suggestions, but more helpful is just thinking about how to attack life. And there is so many times where I felt previously like I just don't have control. Like, it's not, there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to have to rock up to this restaurant or to the work lunch, and the food will be there and I will have to eat it. And like that, there is no control. And actually, I think what I've learned through working through the program is, even in those situations, you still have choices that you can make, and there are still good things that you can do. And that's been brilliant. And then on the exercise side, I think for me, I've been put off by, well, I don't have an hour that I can go and, spend an hour in the gym and actually finding alternatives. And you don't need an hour. You can take 20 minutes here and 30 minutes there, and really focus on the exercises that make a difference. And doing 15 or 20 minutes is better than doing nothing at all. And don't give yourself the excuse, well, I haven't got an hour, so I'm not going to do anything. It makes a huge difference. And just being more active, being more aware of steps counts. I got like a stepper for under the desk, so in the office I can be even moving, and a standing desk, so that some of the day I stand instead of sitting. Like, all of those small things just start to add up and make a difference. And having somebody else thinking about them for you and saying, why don't you do this, have you tried that, just takes the pressure off you and gives you the opportunity to build habits in.
Yeah, and very much having that thought partner, really, because you're at full capacity in your work, and then when you're not working, obviously you want to be present with your family, and it's about coming in and going, okay, let's look at your unique situation and see how we can do this. And the important bit is the implementation, isn't it? And when you are getting on planes all the time and you have a very long working day, there is plenty of reasons to just go, no, I can't do this. There's plenty of opportunities to say, no, I can't do this. But it's an incredible opportunity to come together today, because I just think, with the amount that you do travel, it's a fantastic example of you can see really great improvements with your health and wellness alongside working long hours. It is possible. It's not easy, but it is possible. But yeah, personalization, absolutely key, and having that thought partner that can help with some of the thinking, so you can focus on the implementing.
Yeah, definitely. Even like, so this last week I was at a conference in Orlando, and before I went, Lou had messaged me and said, like, just focus on the key things, like when you're choosing food, like protein, lots of just, yes, it's really simple things, but actually it's so nice just to have that reminder to be like, control what you can. Like, this is, focus on the key things. And some even little things, like sometimes I'll be like, oh, like the dessert looks amazing, I love chocolate, I always want dessert. But now I'll take it and I'll be like, okay, I'll just have like a little taste, I'll have like 1 or 2 spoonfuls, and then I'll be good. Like, that's satisfied that I had some, I tried it, and I don't need to eat the whole plate. So I try not to kind of like deny myself, but to just make a slightly better choice. And maybe, not doing that at lunch and at dinner, just at one of the meals.
Yeah, and once you get into the rhythm of it and we start to train your taste buds, and you can, you do end up feeling satisfied over having a small amount. And I know when we've previously spoken as well, just going into work meetings and like being able to look at what's available and know what to pick and know what to put together has been really key. What would you say are your biggest wins 9 months on?
Um, I think one would be just the amount of additional exercise I've been able to fit in. When I looked at my diary when we started, and I was just like, it's not possible. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm at capacity. There is no time. And actually, we've been able to find those like small slots, the wins, and also and even take. So my husband goes to a gym and has a personal trainer, and I was always like, well, he gets to go and do that while I'm like running around with the children. And actually, we just by moving one of his slots to a session where the children are in a club means we can both go together. And that was like a really small change, but it's fit that in. It's something we do together, and that's nice because we're like doing, it's nice, but supporting each other. And we also, it's a Friday evening, so it kind of sets you up for the weekend. It
Yeah.
makes you feel good about going into the weekend that you've done. And so, and it's not every week, because sometimes I'll be traveling or there'll be something else going on, but where we can, fitting that in has been great. And then, yeah, fitting the slots in around the rest of the life, like I say, that's definitely a big win. I think just being able to find those opportunities and finding stuff that works. So again, there's been a bit of trial and error with that, but I think originally a lot of kind of like, do this exercise and then this exercise, like in a list format, and you tick it off as you've done it. And actually I found that quite stop start. I had to like, right, what's the next thing I'm meant to be doing? Like, and actually, so for me, I found it much better to follow along with somebody on like a video, and that is easier for me to manage that process.
Yes.
And again, Lou noticed that, because she was like, oh, I'm noticing like you're more likely to gravitate towards the one than the other. So why don't we focus on that if that's working better for you? And that was great. So that's definitely a big win. And the other, I think, is the confidence with food to pick better choices. So last August we went to Disney for 2 weeks. So US holiday, you're panicked and thinking you're going to come back and your weight's going to have gone up, skyrocketing. And actually, I lost a little bit of weight during that holiday. And I think it was the combination of just being so active, because you walk so many thousands of steps when you're at Disney, but also, again, just keeping the good choices and not looking at these massive American portions and thinking, I've got to finish the plate. Like, just like, well, what's a sensible size portion for me of this meal, and when am I full, and then I'll stop. And that was brilliant. Like, I think that gave me such confidence that this is something that can work more long term. It's not a quick fix thing. This is a change in the way that you think about food and approach your life, really.
Yes, and it has to be, so it becomes sustainable, and it is so empowering, when you are starting to be more mindful around food, and it doesn't feel like a fight. It just feels like you're almost curious, right? I imagine on that trip you may be a bit curious, like, I'm going to play with this, see how I get on, and then you came home and were like, wow, okay, this is great. It actually does work, which is a great feeling. What would you say to say a fellow ladies listening in, and perhaps they are feeling at top capacity with work, with family, but they do want to improve their health and wellness, and that's a key focus. Is there any bits of advice you would give them today?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing was just do it. Because I think I had previously been, oh, well, now's not a great time. Like, I'm about to travel for the next 3 weeks, or I've got this coming up, I've got a holiday happening. I've got, it's like, after that, then I'll start. Like, after that. And of course, there's never a perfect time to start. And actually, just getting on and doing is almost the best thing. Like, taking that first step is the hardest, but you start, and actually maybe those crazy times are the best times to start, because if what you're trying to do doesn't work for that, then it's not going to work for the long term anyway. So
Mm,
not being afraid to take that first step, and there's never going to be an ideal time. So I think that would definitely be my first piece of advice. And then secondly, I have found it being so helpful to have that support, somebody to kind of, even like occasionally it's been to say, I've said, like, Friday, I've told you I'm going to do this exercise. So if by like 12 o'clock I haven't logged that I've done the exercise, like, send me a message and like tell me off, because I have no excuse. Like, Friday is the day. And just
yeah.
having someone to keep you accountable makes such a big difference. And even, sometimes I'll like ping over a menu for a restaurant that I'm going to this evening, and I'll be like, hey, I've not had a chance to look at the menu, or I've looked and actually this one looks a bit complicated. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that's jumping off the page to me as a good choice. And have someone say, well, actually, have you thought about having this? Or you could order this, but take that off and add a side of vegetables. Or
Mm,
it's really nice to have somebody that you can outsource the thinking to when you need to.
yeah. Okay, super. So great bits of advice of take that step, because that is the biggest thing, taking that step and going, I'm going to do this, and being able to really get stuck in and have that support, because we can't do it all. We cannot, although we try, although we try, and we wouldn't try and MOT our car. So it is the same principle in some degree
Yeah.
when it comes to this too. So thank you so much for joining me. Honestly, the busiest lady we have in the program is right here, on aeroplanes multiple times a month, working in crazy different time zones, and really made an incredible transformation over the last 9 months. So it is totally, totally, totally possible. So thank you so much for joining me today, Vicky, and sharing your journey.
Thanks, Emily.